Bad Blood was one of the best PLEs I've seen in a long time, and we've got a lot to unpack. Just when we thought we'd seen everything, The Rock made his unexpected return, changing the landscape of the Bloodline. Bad Blood has always been the stage where rivalries reach their boiling point, and this year was no different. From CM Punk and Drew McIntyre easily delivering the match of the night, to Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns teaming up against the new Bloodline, the night was filled with jaw-dropping moments, and I still can't believe how much actually happened. For me, the highlight was the final boss coming back. No grand announcements or flashy promos, just an intense presence that left everyone in shock. His return couldn't have come at a more important time, with so many storylines heating up. Whether he's here to settle a score or stir up new rivalries, his presence adds a whole new layer. In this video, we're taking a look at everything that went down in the main event. We'll break down the match and most importantly explain the real reasons why The Rock returned at Bad Blood. Leading up to the show, there'd been discussions about who'd main event the PLE, CM Punk and Drew McIntyre or Cody and Roman versus the Bloodline. At the time, I wanted it to be Punk McIntyre, because in all honesty, it's been the feud of the year so far, and watching the show, there's no doubt they had the best match on the card. I just hope CM Punk isn't pissed that The Rock took his main event once again, because that was the only reason the match was on last. Cody had a flashy entrance with an out-of-tune band that didn't quite hit for me, but when Roman came out with an orchestra, business picked up. I thought the guy was jacked at WrestleMania, but it's obvious he put in work during his time off. While most people think his old entrance is the best, I think this new version, when he has an orchestra behind him, is levels above. When you talk about aura, there's plenty of it when you start talking about Roman Reigns. In terms of the match, the entrances were mostly the best part. Cody started with Jacob with a back and forth, and then it was time for Roman to come face to face with Solo. Reigns tried to get in control but was stopped by Sikoa, and I have to just say it just feels like he's been pushed up to this spot as the tribal chief. There was a time when Roman told Sikoa to back off getting involved in certain situations because he wasn't ready, and now he's matching him toe to toe without doing much to get to this level. It sort of feels a little forced. Also, we got a glimpse at a stare down with Jacob. I always thought they needed a big PLE moment when Roman returned. They tried their best to keep them apart, but their first encounter wasn't how I thought it would be, with Solo interfering and the Bloodline taking control to slow the pace of the match. And from there, Cody and Roman just got their asses beat, with the turning point coming with Cody giving Roman a salute and sending Jacob through the announce table. Until this point, Roman and Cody couldn't get anything going because they'd always find themselves on the back foot with interference. Jacob was out of the equation, so Roman landed a Superman punch and set up for the spear, with the Tongans interfering and Reigns eating a spear from Sikoa, but he kicked out at the last second. Solo was pissed and started talking trash, when all of a sudden a hooded figure appeared on screen and took out the Bloodline at ringside with a series of super kicks. After months on the shelf, Jimmy Uso made his return to reunite with Roman, and I can't tell you how good it was to see him. Jimmy's arrival distracted Solo, which left him open for the spear, and that was it, with Roman making the cover and defeating the new Bloodline. After the match, Jimmy came into the ring to acknowledge his tribal chief, and they had a really nice moment together. After years of turbulence in their relationship and Roman Reigns seemingly changing his ways, it marked the beginning of the OG Bloodline coming back together. Reigns then put over Cody and left the ring, allowing the new Bloodline to pounce and laid the smackdown on Rhodes. Jimmy tried to convince Roman to get involved, but he was conflicted, but decided to haul ass and take the Bloodline out once again, making the save for Cody. It felt like the show was coming to an end, with Reigns handing the undisputed title back to Cody, and then everything changed when The Rock's music hit. The crowd erupted with one of the biggest pops in a long time as the final boss came back to the WWE. Most of us were expecting him to return after Pat McAfee gave it away, but we lost our shit regardless. He came out with the People's Champ belt and stared down Reigns and Cody in the ring and didn't say a word. His music stopped playing and there was complete confusion because there was no mic in his hand. Instead, he raised the eyebrow like a judgmental family member and then started the countdown for his entrance and walked away, bringing the show to a close. It was the perfect way to bring the final boss back into the equation, leaving more questions than answers. Nobody knows for sure his intentions, but something is wrong. After the show went off the air, he went live on Instagram to reveal that everything that's happened in the last 6 months was bullshit. I mean, I see his point. When he left, he pinned Cody on night 1 of WrestleMania. Reigns lost his championship and hasn't been seen for months, and the Bloodline has crumbled, which paved the way for Solo Sikoa to create a new faction. I don't put it past him to raise the eyebrow. Looking at it from the lens of the final boss character, can you imagine his surprise walking into the arena and seeing Roman teaming up with Cody against members of their family? It's a slap in the face, especially when Rock made us aware he's coming for Rhodes when he returns. You have to wonder if this was all part of his plan also. Rock didn't reveal much other than the fact that he's unhappy. He didn't make it clear whose side he's on and who he came out to confront. The new Bloodline looked on, and you can't help but think he might have been behind it all as the new tribal chief of the Bloodline. As good as Solo might be, it's very difficult for us to believe he deserves the Ulafala around his neck, especially when you have someone like Jacob Fatu standing right next to you. I've been battling this thought for months. Also, if Solo was the true tribal chief and he needed credibility to stand up to Reigns, why would he be the one on the receiving end of the pinfall for their first match together? Surely it would be Jacob, or you let the new Bloodline go over. The seeds were planted when the new Bloodline formed in Roman's absence, but it needs a big payoff. To make this new Bloodline civil war compelling, there has to be a worthy opponent for Roman Reigns. Despite Jacob being an unbelievable worker, he doesn't quite have the accolades to stand toe-to-toe with Reigns, and neither does Solo. This is why there's a possibility that The Rock would mastermind everything to get himself in a position to challenge Roman Reigns at WrestleMania for the match we've been expecting for years, and this would be the perfect direction for their feud. Also, in my opinion, it feels like The Rock's return this time was more of a tease for the future rather than a full-blown return to action. Crown Jewel is coming up and Cody is going to face the World Heavyweight Champion, and it seems the Bloodline is headed towards a War Games match, which is something I've dreamed about ever since the new Bloodline formed. And I don't see The Rock competing in a match type like that, if I'm honest. The WWE can't juggle reuniting the OG Bloodline for the War Games and The Rock breathing down their neck. After looking at the plans, I don't see him having a match on a PLE anytime soon. Looking past that, after the show went off the air, Cody got his ass handed to him by Kevin Owens. It's a storyline which has been building for quite some time, so it seems like Cody is going to be preoccupied after Crown Jewel. Everything that's been said up until this point is pure speculation, and probably the only person who knows the answers is The Rock and Triple H. Despite that, I can't help but feel excited about the return of the final boss. For far too long, we'd seen an outdated modern rock character who was feeding off nostalgia, but this new gimmick has taken things to a whole new level. The eyebrow raise after his music stopped playing looked sly as hell and gave me the creeps. But like his promo with Cody on Raw after Mania, he just has this new side to him which is so compelling to see. But to break it down, I think he's coming after Roman Reigns, and this is the start of their feud leading into WrestleMania. WWE dropped a slight hint to this as well. They uploaded his return to YouTube, and the title has no mention of Cody, but it does have Roman's name on there. From being the tribal chief who had a stranglehold on the main event picture, to sitting on the island of relevancy and having nobody by his side. For a psychotic gimmick like the final boss, it's not going to sit well with him. You have to remember that awkward moment when The Rock lowered himself to acknowledge Reigns as his tribal chief. It was all for nothing because it came crashing down after WrestleMania. We're most likely going to see a feud with Cody Rhodes, but only only time will tell when that will be. People are speculating it might be at the Royal Rumble, but in my opinion, we're going to see The Rock in action at SummerSlam, purely because it's a 2-night show for the first time, and they need it to be a spectacle so they can continue this new format long term. Like I said, it's all speculation, and I can't wait to see how it's all going to play out when he's ready to explain the real reason for his return. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, don't be a jabroni, and subscribe to the channel so you can stay tuned for more wrestling content right here on WrestlingReel.